Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're in the world. Welcome to FPL, don't panic. Right, big video this. Got some big questions. Got one very, very big question. Game changer, a game-changing question. What do we do? What are we going to do in this video? I'm not going to do a review of game week 20 again. I finished on 20 points. I did the wild card. It kind of worked. I'll run through the numbers in a second. Yeah, 67 points. Absolutely big rank rise, lovely. Did I need to wildcard? Probably with hindsight. It's not hindsight. I kind of knew it wasn't necessarily the purest thing to do. And it has now set me some problems with the Gavardiol injury. The eagle-eyed amongst you will see where I have gone. There's the first burning question answered. I've brought in Matheus Nunes for Gavardiol. I have a policy. Might be the wrong policy, but it's my policy, so I'm going with it. Especially now that I've got my 4-5-1 structure nicely in place. It's taken me a long time to get here. As I said yesterday, I think that's taken so long since when I've been talking about it, and since game week 9. It's that psychological thing. Is it the right way to go? Time is going to tell. Time will tell. And I'm going to talk a little bit about a contingency plan where I can easily pivot out of it if I need to. But for now, I feel very comfortable with it. Very comfortable with it. Particularly with the result that it's already given me just in well, since I have moved to it in the last 2 game weeks. Although I was forced to play a 5-4-1 in game week 20, I still got a nice rank rise. But I was forced because of the Rice injury to go to the 5-4-1. Still got a nice rank rise even with a low scoring game week. And this week, a very healthy over 300k rank rise. So far, so good. Will it continue? We'll see. But yeah, 67 points. The rise. I mean, where I guess you could say the wild card was the biggest mistake. I could have just gone the -8 and kept Declan Rice in, but the soundings were that he wasn't going to play. So I realised I was going to take the -12, and thought, oh, sod it, I'll just wild card. And the players that I brought in, Bruno G, returned, so at least covered off the Rice error. And Tarkowski, nothing from him, but yeah, Gabriel, which was one of the key reasons, obviously. Reasonable return, and in fact fantastic because he knocked out the Arsenal clean sheet and then went straight up the other end and got the goal. So Arsenal double clean sheet gone, and a nice return from Declan Rice. From Gabriel. So listen, boom, bye game week 20. Let's not dwell on that. Got the rank rise by the numbers, which you can just see at the bottom of the screen there. It has certainly helped my averages. I just want to go through my rank tracker and how I'm doing against my key targets. Well, yeah, let's get to 500k first, then let's get to 100k, and then let's try and push on to crack that top 50k. Haven't given up on the top 10k. It's a little bit way off. It's a little bit way off, but my game-changing question might help me towards that. It could also break it. But anyways, yeah, 2 green arrows in a row. This latest one, yeah, a very healthy rise from 1,113,000 to 714,000. Brought my averages up by a whole half point to 57.75. A long way from where I want them or need them to be. But the averages across the rest of the field dropped by half a point pretty much across the board. 500k now I'm only 13 points outside it. Indeed, I'd have cracked the 500k in this first one. And you know the one that actually did it for me, and it was Declan Rice fucking me over again. I couldn't understand when I was just hitting the City game, because I was actually just outside the top 500k on live rank, and I thought, fuck it, I may well do this. I've got 4 players to come. As soon as their points show, even just the 1 pointers and then the 2 pointers each, that might actually just push me inside. Oh, why has my rank dropped? And of course it was the Ekatike not been in the squad registering, and loads of people getting bench points, particularly Rice bench points coming off the bench, and it dropped me back down from just outside 500k back down to 700, and then of course none of the City players returned, which was a real pisser. I'm going to talk about that in a second. listen, this is actually pretty good. This is as good as I could have hoped for out of game week 20. And as I say, psychologically, and it was one of the reasons for playing the wild card, to get things moving in the right direction and get that good old psychological feel-good vibe going. So overall happy. And as I've said, I'm not overly worried that I played the wild card. I played the whole of the second half of last season without chips, and particularly in that last 30 to 38, I got some of my best rank rises. And this time I will still have my triple captain, free hit and bench boost, which is a bloody pain in the arse chip anyways. So not overly worried about not having the wild card, and it's got my structure in place now, for the rest of the season, or certainly for the next 5-10 game weeks. Happy. Now, talking of structure, as I sort of look to the spreadsheet, part of my philosophy is when I do have an injury, I'm not messing about with it. Obviously, trying to be wary of any other injuries, etc. But Tarkowski does sound as though he's definitely out for a little while. Sorry, not Tarkowski. Gavardio out for a little while. Right, let's get him out and let's get the right player in that sort of fits my profile, fits the way I run my spreadsheet, and as I say, it's the right profile of player that I'm sort of looking for within this structure. And Nunes does seem to fit it. We won't know for sure, obviously, until the next 4 or 5 game weeks plays out. But as I say, based on my wanting 4 points out of my keeper, 5 points out of my defender, 6 points out of my midfielder, 7 points out of my striker, to sort of get me towards that 60. Hopefully the captain's return, bang, 70. Fits that profile. Little bit of attacking threat there. About 1 in 5 he might pick up a little assist. He's got the DEFCON in there. Reasonable chances of clean sheets. Should be coming in towards that sort of 5 points, maybe more. He's on a 7 at the moment, but there's obviously he's got 2 11s in there, but it's the 8s, the 4s, and the 5s. They're the ones that I'm most interested in. Are they in there, and would he achieve those on a consistent basis? Only time will tell. But he fits the profile of what I'm looking for, so he's in, and a nice little run of fixtures there to hopefully, ideally, stay on that 7 average, but I will be totally happy if I just see those 5s appearing in there, 5s and 6s, 4, 5s and 6s. That's what I want. Team going out for this week, I'm pretty happy with. I'm technically, I suppose, the other problem that came out of the wild card, as well, was I lost of the 5 or 6 transfers that I actually made. It was 7 in total, but 2 of those were on the bench. So was obviously losing Gavardio straight away, pain in the arse. But losing my nice keeper rotation. Not that there was too much of a keeper rotation. I'd have probably been mostly playing Verbruggen, but I had intended to have John in for this West Ham fixture. Now maybe John will play. I don't know how the seriousness of that injury, so I may well start him. And we'll see if he plays. Great. If he doesn't, then Verbruggen comes in. Do I expect Verbruggen to keep a clean sheet against City away? No, of course I don't. But he might have the game of his life, pull off some clean sheets, and keep City down to maybe 1 or 2. Never know. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. A 0-0 draw. 0-0 draw would be absolutely fine. In fact, that would be a great result. That would be a fantastic result. So, team as a whole, though, Tarkowski, Wolves home. That was a shocker of result. I don't think any of us saw that coming for Everton against Brentford and the Thiago hat-trick. But you'd be thinking that Moyes will have been giving them a right to up the arse. So good chance there, obviously, of a clean sheet. Nunes, just spoken about him, so pretty happy with that. We'll see how it plays out. Gabriel, Liverpool at home. Yeah, tough enough fixture. I think probably that Arsenal will concede, but if Gabriel gets on the end of something against a soft Liverpool defence, particularly from set pieces, happy days. The way this is played out as well, I never had any Liverpool assets anyways, but thinking how a lot of people probably have their teams, I think my team will probably stack up quite well, on paper at least, against a lot of managers, I think, that will have 2 or 3 Arsenal assets and maybe 1 or 2 Liverpool assets going into this game. So their teams will probably not look ideal with 4 or 5 players potentially, not in all teams obviously, in the same in the same team. And of course, it does look as though Ekitike is going to be fine as well. So that poses the dilemma: do they transfer out players and bring players in, etc., etc., to try and make it look a bit better? Don't know, but I think that's actually worked out reasonably well for me, not having any Liverpool assets. Although I've been worried about it for a few games because of going against Ekitike and Wirtz. But now I think the swing back obviously is that I've got a nice clean game week without too many clashes. Chow, absolutely fantastic, and a decent fixture at home to Leeds. Don't expect a 17-pointer from him every week, but it's a decent chance of a clean sheet, I would think. Cunha, Burnley away. He's getting the shots off. He will go after 21 as I bring Declan Rice back. So he'll be gone for the City and Arsenal games. So hopefully he can give me a little present. Of course, United have got a new. Well, we don't have a new manager. The United merry-go-round, managerial merry-go-round continues as the whole bloody thing starts again. Our little two-year fun. Bring someone in as an interim manager, or bring someone in for half a season, and they go okay, and we give them the job full time, or whatever the. I'm just sick of the whole, sorry, United hat on here at the moment, sick of the whole bloody thing, I'll tell you. Club is a fucking joke. Right, FPL hat back on. But hey, maybe we'll get these players playing for their spots with a new manager coming in. Obviously want to show what they can do, and Cunha bags the brace against Burnley away. That's what I want, and then he will still go, and we'll have City and Arsenal. Palmer, this really kind of is the big one now. I did bring in Palmer in very, very early. It's maybe a questionable decision, but he has picked me up 3 returns in 5. Nothing spectacular, but I have him now. If he now, and I thought Chelsea did look a lot better against City. They've got the new managerial situation going on as well. There's 5 good fixtures there. There will be a clamour for Palmer. The people will be buying him anyways. But if he bags a couple against Fulham, then we're really going to see that clamour start, and that's going to force a lot of managers into question what they do, restructuring their teams, trying how do I get Palmer in? Oh, I'll have to lose Saka, or I'll have to sell this, or oh man, that whole thing. I've got him, and again, I'm not saying it'll necessarily be a game changer, but hopefully I'm ahead of the curve. Time will tell. Foden, definitely need to. Foden, your last return in game week 16 is about to fall off the board. You're already down to a 4.2 average. But those fixtures are nice. So you won't be going anywhere for a few game weeks, because I do have the other plans, obviously, with bringing Rice back in and then bringing Bruno Fernandes back in for Fulham. So you probably are, by default, safe for 3 or 4. But Foden, again, is one of those players that does like the softer fixtures, and he's certainly got 3 good ones there, with Brighton at home, Man United away, Wolves at home in the next 3. So, and he has been sold hand over fist. So his points will now start to mean something, but he obviously has to get those points. Bruno G. Lovely, thank you for softening the blow of the Rice mistake. I did say with the 3 fixtures that I had him for, Palace, where he's obviously got his 10-pointer, should have been 12. I hate Opta. I'm taking the 2 points off him. Leeds home, Wolves away, 3 nice fixtures. I brought him in thinking that he would get at least 1 10-pointer in one of those 3, so he's already ahead of the curve. 2 more. Bring me in just 1 10-pointer in either of those 2. Lovely. And then he'll be moving out, I think, for Bruno Fernandes. Haaland. I'm going to come back to Haaland in a second. Good fixture though, Brighton home. I'm going to come back and have a little chat about Haaland in a second. On the bench, yeah, all I've got is Alderete, Brentford away. I do now have, with the Núñez move, even more money in the bank, which means that my moves to Rice and Bruno Fernandes are actually more comfortable. I have got a bit of a buffer, so I might look somewhere along the line. There's no real emergency on it to strengthen that bench a little bit, and probably turn Obi or Guihi into oh my God, why is the name keep going on my head? The Wolves lad, just a little bit of bench cover. The Wolves lad, or Krupi Jr., if he's getting good minutes with Semenyo's exit. No real emergency on that, but just now that I have just got a little bit of a buffer of money in the bank, which I was really tight on before for the moves that I know I'm going to want to make with Rice and Bruno. Just got a little bit of a buffer there, which means I probably could stretch out to Maine. That's it, Maine. So I've just got a little bit of bench cover, which will start to enable me to roll a little bit more if I do get an injury, etc., or something like that. We'll see. Now I'm just going to talk a little bit on my watch list before I'm going to come back and talk about Haaland in a second. I've got a little bit of a watch list, which is a multi-purpose watch list. I'll just talk to that a little bit. So I've obviously just got Rice on there, showing an 8.75 average, even with his the game that he didn't play, where he was down injured. So it's an 8.75 an 8.75 average, even though that's an average across 5 games, even though he's only played 4. Bruno's in there, just to track that. And I've got Watkins in there. I don't seriously intend to bring Watkins in. We'll call this a Watkins watch. So I'm obviously now entrenched in this 5-4-1-4-5-1 structure. Very happy I've gone there. The structure's there. But we also do need to keep a track. Am I still on the right structure? So currently Watkins, and in form Watkins, having returned something in each of his last 5 games, is on a 6.8 average. Now, where I just want to track that is he is the most informed striker. He is also someone that I think I said it in game week 18, game week 18. And I said, oh, we need to keep an eye on Watkins. He's a second half of the season lad. I've seen the pattern season after season where people bring him in, he disappoints, he's not on form, etc. Then he hits his form in the second half of the season, and the last 2 seasons has beaten Haaland on points. You must remember that. He's beaten Haaland the last 2 seasons on points. So Watkins for me is the informed striker, so I want to track him just to make sure if I suddenly did need to pivot to a 4-4-2 that I can do it. And if Watkins, someone else becomes the informed striker, I'll track them. But at the moment for me is if I was going to get a striker, someone that traditionally comes on strong in the second half of the season, showing that consistency, 5 returns in 5, assists and goals. Just going to keep an eye on him to make sure that I am still in the right structure with this 4-5-1. And yes, I have put Rodri in there. Those that have followed me for the last year and a half will know I have an absolute Rodri fetish. I thought he was doing some interesting stuff last season. I thought, Jesus, again, it was a little bit like Declan Rice. I thought, Jesus, he just keeps clocking in these 4 or 5 pointers, and he's like 5 million. Should I bring him in? Didn't. Same as I didn't with Declan Rice last year. And then they brought in Defcon, and I did a whole bunch of analysis at the beginning of the season. What would Rodri have returned if Defcon had been in place? And it was showing he would have comfortably had a 7 or 8 point average for last season. Comfortably. And of course I brought him in after his injury, and he got injured within 30 minutes. And I think it may have happened again. This has happened to me twice with Rodri. So I'm not going to make the same mistake again, bringing him in too early. But I am going to track him. And I tell you what, if over the next 4 or 5 game weeks, he is showing one, obviously his minutes are consistent, and he is delivering what I expect him to deliver, which would be a 7 to 8 point average. And that is based on, he'll hit Defcon most weeks, more often than not. He will pick up the odd clean sheet, and he'll get an attacking return roughly 1 in 5, and that will be enough for a really solid 7 points. So I ain't going to bring him in. He's not in the plan. But if after 5 game weeks, say maybe after that Liverpool fixture, he's showing me that 7 or 8 point average, and depending on how the rest of my team's going, yeah, fuck it. Well, it's still that for the money that he costs at the moment, I think it's a 6.5 or whatever it is, 7 or 8 points. And if he's outperforming Foden, who's currently down on 4.2, in fact, that would be, you know what? That's it. I mean, Foden is definitely going to be in for the next 3 or 4. And if Rodri, if Foden is still showing that sort of 4 or blowing it, you know, stinking up the place, that will be the easiest decision I will make all season. Right, the burning question. Oh my God, siren's going off outside. Don't know if you can hear that. The burning question. This is the big question. Haaland. This is my serious face. Haaland has blanked 6 times in the last 9 game weeks. He is down to a 7.4 average. Remember last year, he started off like with the proverbial wet sail, and then maybe he just doesn't like winter. I'm seriously considering getting off the, it won't be this week. I'm seriously thinking of getting off the Haaland captaincy, and when I get Rice in, just perma-captaining Rice. Is that risky? Let me quantify the risk for you. Supposing he does keep blanking. Haaland generally, when he's on fire, will average about 11 to 12 points per game week. I know I've tracked Haaland for the last couple of seasons, you know, but he'll end up with an average of about 11 to 12 points. Declan Rice is going to average 7 to 8 points consistently, really consistently. So he's supposing, even say for the rest of the season, Haaland does get his 11 points and Rice does hit his upper threshold, his upper average of 11, and Declan Rice hits what he's doing consistently, the 8-point average. He's on 8.75 at the moment, you know, and that's with, that should be higher because that's, I've taken a 5 game week average, even though he's only played 4. He's not going to get a 17-pointer every week, but he has hit double digits 4 or 5 times this season already. He can pretty much almost right in the 5 points on a weekly basis. He'll average 8. You know, we'll see if I'm right as these game weeks play out. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 3 points to Haaland's average captaincy. So you're risking 5 or 6 points a week. It's not that much in the grand scheme of things. Supposing you get it right and Haaland continues to blank. And you're getting that 15, 16 pointers almost guaranteed on average per week. Game-changing stuff. Game-changing stuff. So I don't necessarily even think it's a game breaker, you know, if you're getting good points in other parts of the team. But I'm getting very close to going there. Not this week. One, because I haven't got Rice at the moment. He won't be coming back in until 22. But I'm getting very close to it. And it would probably be I'd start to pull that trigger maybe around 24. Yeah, not 24. Let me get this right. No, man. No, I'd start now. I'm looking at those Arsenal fixtures. I'd probably pull the trigger on it. 22, 23 even. 22, 23. It's something to think about. I mean, I don't like to live with regret. The numbers are telling me this is the right thing to do, but a bit like going 4-5-1, it's so psychological, and we know it took me 10 weeks to get into my 4-5-1 from when I was talking about it in game week 9, and a big part of that was because it was psychological. It was so going against the grain, and I really regret if I had gone with the 4-5-1 from game week 9 or 10, I would probably be comfortably in the top 50k, maybe even the top 10k now. So I clearly am living with regret on that one. I don't want to live with regret again, but what is the risk? And of course it's a risk. It'll be terrifying, absolutely terrifying every time Haaland takes the pitch. 6 blanks in his last 9 or 10 games. Remember last year. I'm probably going to do it. Because I mean, what the hell is this game? We play it for fun. And wouldn't it be so much fun to be getting like an extra 10 or 15 points a week and then suddenly see that top 10k in sight? Equally, it would be utterly horrible to suddenly find myself down at 2 million in by game week 30. But it is just a game. We've got to have a go, haven't we? Got to have a go. I'm going to do it. Not this week. It'll kick in, I think, from about 22, 23. I could change my mind. I really could change my mind. But I do maintain, you know, Haaland, when he's sort of peaking, he'll end up on about that 11-point average. Rice is going to end up on a 7-8 point average. If it's going really badly, what have I really lost? Well, I've dropped that back down to 1.2, 1.3 million. But hey, maybe the rest of this team, which is fairly stacked, covers it while I take that period of risk. Fuck it, I'm going to be doing it from about 22, 23. Just going to do it. Talk me out of it. Or not. Take care, have fun, play your own game. Don't panic. Deadline's 24 hours away. Here we go. See you soon. Bye-bye.